Hi everyone, Kamon Reynolds here, and we have been busy, even though it's the second day of February. I'm just building a couple things, but I wanted to show you, especially for those of you who are just getting into hobby beekeeping, some of the standard, USA standard equipment style of boxes. Now, I'll talk to you in a minute about the variations within those, but this is typically what I consider, many beekeepers in the U.S. consider standard beekeeping equipment. It really doesn't matter what your equipment is. A lot of people will tell you that the bees need a big box because they're going to do better in the rose hive, the 12 wide boxes, or some people are going to go for the extra jumbo deeps, and there's going to be people that are going to tell you to go long and higher, and now there's a pretty big movement of people doing 7 frames and 5 frames and 8 frames and only doing mediums and all that kind of stuff. And the only true correct answer is they all work really well if you know what you're doing. Now, some are a little more efficient than others, but they all will work if you have healthy bees that have good nutrition and no disease and pest problems. And that's really what it boils down to. I've pulled bees out of trees, I've pulled bees out of houses, I've seen bees pulled out of gasoline tanks that had gasoline in them at one time, and they've just been sitting there, and someone left them open, and bees just right down into them. So when someone tells you that it's a certain way, you need to take it with a grain of salt, because beekeepers, especially when you study beekeepers around the world, there is so many ways, and it's really cool, especially to see what they do in other countries. And especially when you're a hobbyist beekeeper, that's when you can have the most fun, because you can have different things and it's not quite as important. When you're doing it for a business, it's really important to have things that interchange more. But it would be handy as a hobbyist if you kind of keep all your stuff standard, because it's easier to switch things out. And what I mean by that is, if you have all deep frames in these boxes, then they're all going to be interchangeable with your other deeps, and vice versa. It's like cassettes. And for those of you who are too young to know what cassettes are, they were pretty awesome, and we appreciated our music back in those days because we knew the pain of trying to find that song again. And if the tape got messed up, you'd have to get the pencil out. Anyways, on to beekeeping. So you got your deep Langstroth box here. You have your medium here, and you have your shallow here. These are considered more of a brood area by many, but commercial beekeepers especially, and myself included, only use deep boxes because it's just more efficient. Like I said, everything is interchangeable, and that is so nice. And so for those of you with bad backs, or just wanting to prevent bad back problems, a lot of beekeepers are going to nothing but mediums. The only problem I really see going with mediums is that you have a little more expense, because frames cost a pretty good bit, and there's not much of a frame cost gap between the deep frames and the medium frames. And since you have smaller boxes, you're going to have to have more frames, and you have to look through more frames. But if you have the time, there's just a few hives, there's nothing wrong with that at all. And these mediums right here are much easier to lift. There's no reason why you couldn't go all mediums. I know a lot of beekeepers who do that and are very successful, and some of them are quite large. Many hundreds of hives, and who knows, there might be some guys bigger than that out there. But yeah, we like the deeps. These are going to run, this one's 9 5/8. It really depends a little bit on the manufacturing by the company. Excuse me. We got 6 5/8 here, and then right here we've got 5 3/4 on the shallow. Now the shallows are typically used for comb honey. They can be used for extracted honey, but it's a little chilly out here. But they typically are used for comb honey. And this is what we plan on using for comb honey in the future. We're going to try to dabble in that a little bit whenever we get the chance. But I have a couple of these boxes, but again, all we use is deep. So there are other styles out there. There's long hives, long Langstroths. There's top bar hives. There's all kinds of variations. Find something, in my opinion, if you're wanting my opinion, I would go for one of these, because it's 10 frame, it's standard, most people have these, it's easier to sell them, it's easier to get new ones, it's great. Now if you're an Australian and you're watching this, from what I understand, they have a lot more 8 framers, and so it kind of varies on location, so just do your research, but know that whatever you decide, as long as you manage your bees according to that equipment, your bees are going to do fine as long as they're healthy. And if you have longer hives, then you're going to have to make sure that the queen has plenty of frames to keep her busy. Bees like to move up as opposed to move long, but I've seen really impressive looking hives that go long ways. So, you know, again, just do your research on that specific thing, and it's a journey. It's a learning curve. We're going to try to help you out as much as we can within the areas that we know, and just enjoy this time of getting into your bees. But if you're looking for equipment, this is the type of stuff that I recommend. This is what we use, and it all will work good if you just do it right according to the rules of that. So anyways, thanks for watching this video. Got a little long-winded here, but my wife will tell you that I'm really good at that. So have a good one. We'll talk to you later.